as you can tell, we have yet another package. Now, before I get started with anything, I first want to go ahead and apologize. The setup is actually different. I am not at my house, I'm at a relative's house, and had to make a little makeshift recording setup as I wanted to get this video out as quick as I could. So this is not my usual setup. Please excuse that. The lighting isn't perfect, and this table isn't exactly the prettiest, but if you can ignore that, I think this is going to be a pretty solid YouTube video. Anyways, inside this box should be a total of 3 iPhone 6s that I got for a mere $40. One of them being a 128GB model, 2 space gray, and 1 rose gold. I saw these, noticed they were all F my off, and just decided to take a risk. Now, I actually don't even have a knife with me, so we're opening this with my opening tool. Now, unfortunately, I do have a shipping label on the other side of this box, so I'm gonna open it upside down. But inside we see some traffic cone orange bubble wrap. Inside of here, we have our 3 beautiful iPhone 6s. Let's go ahead and make some suspense and pull these out one at a time. First off, we have a space gray model with a pretty destroyed screen. I'll be honest with you, this doesn't look very great, and I'm not sure about this LCD. But you never know, we might be able to save this. The back looks to have some sticker residue left over and some dents and dings all around the frame. But what can I say? I paid $40 and they're all F my off. Next, we have another space gray with some more sticker residue left over. The screen is nowhere near as bad as the other one, but it does look like a pretty terrible aftermarket. As you can see, that camera has a really ugly color when put under harsh lighting. And these cracks don't look very good. We'll see if there's any hope left for this iPhone 6s in just a minute. And last but not least, we have the rose gold iPhone 6s with some more beautiful sticker residue on the back. Now, the screen on this one is pretty terrible as well. They're all cracked, and this one is shattered from the earpiece speaker. The rest of the frame doesn't appear to be in too terrible shape, and hopefully we can get this one working. Now, my goal for this lot is ideally to get the 3 of them working. If not, at least 2 would be amazing. Unfortunately, since I am out of town, I only have access to 2 iPhone chargers right now, meaning I can only charge 2 of these phones at once. I'm gonna put the 2 space gray ones on the charger first, and as soon as one of them turns on, I'll put the rose gold one on. I'll get back to you guys as soon as at least 2 of them have turned on.
20 minutes later.
All right, the 2 space gray iPhone 6s have now turned on, and let's just go ahead and take a look at them. So the first one with the completely destroyed screen is on the setup screen. And if we click English and United States, you can see that this one is actually running iOS 12. And you can tell that by the larger battery icon. And I think this is actually really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and set this one up in a moment, but let's take a look at the other one as well. I now have the rose gold one on a charger as well, so ideally it'll turn on soon too. This other one has the newer battery icon, but the older setup screen, meaning it's iOS 13 or 14. And clicking English and United States, you can see that this one is running iOS 13. This is really cool. I have 2 new iPhone 6s's running slightly older versions of iOS, and as I'd love to know the exact version, I'm gonna go ahead and set them up, starting with the iOS 12 model. Set up manually and let me connect to Wi-Fi. We'll give the phone a moment to activate. And since these are all Find My iPhone off, according to the seller and what they put in the eBay description, this should activate just fine with no issues. Looks like it was unable to activate, but we can just try again. As you can see, the phone has activated. We can click continue, and let's just see if Touch ID is functioning. As you can see, it is, but I'll just set this up later. We'll skip the passcode, and we'll set up as a new iPhone. I'll skip my Apple ID, agree, continue, install manually, as this is running iOS 12, continue, 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 and we'll stick with the standard view. And now it's time to get started. As you can see, we now have an iPhone 6s running iOS 12, and going to general and about, you can see it's running iOS 12.2 and is a 16GB model. Very nice. This is definitely a pretty cool find in my opinion, and I think I'm gonna be keeping this. Next we have the iPhone 6s running iOS 13, and we're gonna go through the exact same steps. Let me connect to Wi-Fi, and we'll give the phone just a moment to activate. As you can see, the phone is now activated, and we can click continue. As you can tell, Touch ID is functioning on this one as well, so we'll just set it up later. We'll skip the passcode for now, and we'll just set it up as a new iPhone. We'll skip my Apple ID as I can do this later. We'll agree, continue, manually, continue. We'll set up later, continue, continue, and we're gonna use dark mode. We'll continue with the standard view, and we'll go ahead and get started. As you can see, we now have an iPhone 6s running iOS 13, and going to settings, general and about, we can see it's running iOS 13.3.1 and is a 128 gigabyte model. Very, very cool find.
Many minutes later.
All right, so unfortunately, after letting this phone charge for about 2.5 hours, I just could not get it to turn on. So, since the battery, and most specifically the iOS 13 iPhone 6s, has 33% as of now, I'm just gonna be taking the battery out of here and putting it into here so that I can test it and figuring out what's wrong later. Let's just get started. Okay, I've now gotten the battery plugged up. I put the battery shield back on as I don't want this battery to come unplugged while I'm testing. But now we can go ahead and power on the iPhone and check the information about the phone. This battery was charged to about 33%, so it shouldn't be too dead to turn the phone on, so I don't think we need to worry about that. Now, I'm still not sure if the issue is the old battery in this phone or the dock connector, but we will find out later as I will be testing the battery that's in here. Looks like we got an iPhone 6s on the setup screen of what looks to be iOS 12 yet again. Click English in United States and confirm that this is another iOS 12 iPhone 6s. We'll go ahead and set it up manually and give me a moment to connect to Wi-Fi. Now we'll give the phone a second to activate. And just like the other two, this one is of course Find My iPhone Off. That's the whole reason that I bought this lot. Of course, it activated normally. We'll click continue and let's test out Touch ID. Looks like we got 3 for 3 with the Touch ID on these iPhone 6s's, and we can set that up later. We'll skip the passcode for now and we'll set it up as a new iPhone. Let's skip my Apple ID as I can always do this later. We'll agree to the terms and conditions, continue. We'll update manually, continue, set up later, continue, share, and it looks like the phone has crashed. That was very strange. The phone suddenly rebooted. I'm not sure what happened, but if this happens again, I will remove the old battery and put the test battery in there instead of on top of the battery that's already in there. Here, you can see the phone is turned on again, and the battery is significantly lower, meaning that the test battery is definitely not a very great battery. I should have tested the battery health before I started testing with it. We'll set up manually yet again, and the phone should be already activated. All I have to do is go through all these questions yet again, and hopefully it won't crash in the middle of this. Set up as new iPhone. We're gonna pick the standard display view as the zoomed one is just way too big for me, and it's time to get started. Here we have yet another iOS 12 iPhone 6s, and going to settings, general and about, you can see the iOS version is iOS 12.1, which is very cool to see the old settings design on an iPhone 6s. I am very happy with this lot.
The next day.
All right, it has been a few days and I am now back home. So just for a little recap, first off, we have the 128 gigabyte iPhone 6s running iOS 13.3.1. This one is currently dead, unfortunately, and I haven't had the time to clean off the stickers on these, but needed to go ahead and get the outro done, and I can clean these off before I take the thumbnail picture. Again, this is a 128 gig running iOS 13.3.1 with an aftermarket display. The battery health on here is 79 and is one that I'm going to be selling. The next one is the rose gold 16 gigabyte one running iOS 12.1. Now this one has the battery from the iOS 12 space gray one, which had a battery health of 78%. as the battery in here simply wouldn't charge up. I'll show again, it's running iOS 12.1, and I am 100% keeping this one as I just absolutely love it. And now third, we had a space gray 16GB running iOS 12.2. Now this one has the battery from there. The battery does work, but it will randomly restart as it has a battery health of, believe it or not, 69%. I wish I could show it, but it is dead. Overall, I'm going to be selling these two and keeping this. So if you'd like to buy one of these two, check out my eBay down in the link in the description. I'll have these up for sale right after this video is posted. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing as of right now, only 18.2% of my viewers are actually subscribed. So if you're new, please consider hitting that subscribe button as it will really help me out a ton. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, peace out, guys.